The president of Turkey, Tayyip Erdogan, is having issues with a German comedian. What? Why in the world does the president of Turkey care about a comedian in Germany? Well, he made jokes about the president of Turkey. Unacceptable. Here in America, this seems preposterous. I think that it might seem preposterous in Germany and many other countries as well. First of all, why do you care, dude? Oh, you got a whole country to run. Up and at 'em, run your country. Don't worry about what comedians say about you in another country. But okay, not only is he worried about what the comedian said, he's worried that other people are going to print it. So Erdogan sued in Germany to make sure others couldn't print it, and he just lost. So let me give you the details on that. A German court on Tuesday rejected a request by Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan for a preliminary injunction preventing the head of German publisher Axel Springer repeating a derogatory term. Well, Erdogan's lawyer got involved here, and Ralf Höcker, the lawyer, told Reuters Erdogan had sought the injunction after Chief Executive Mathias Döpfner's public support for a controversial poem read about a comedian, Jan Böhmermann, on German television in March. Man, this guy's got way too much time on his hand. He's watching German TV. He's like, oh, there's a comedian I didn't like. I like George Lopez better. I don't like that Böhmermann guy. Let's have a conversation with the leader of Germany and make sure the other press doesn't write the jokes that he wrote. And Turkey's a big country in the middle of very important matters, like theoretically fighting ISIS. And you might want to attend to those. Anyway, he loses in this case. But what's amazing is that, especially if you're an American, you might be very surprised at German laws in this situation. He might win against the actual comedian. Under Germany's criminal code, insults against foreign leaders are not allowed, but the government can decide whether to authorize prosecutors to go ahead. So, what a bizarre thing. What do you care if Germans criticize the leader of Zaire for? Whether Zaire still exists. Okay, anyway. No, do not say anything about Mobutu Sese Seko. Okay, so this is a bizarre rule if you ask me, but the government has to let prosecutors go ahead on that issue. And in this case, Angela Merkel did, and that's why people are mad at her inside Germany, saying you shouldn't be sticking up for this guy. The court said that its decision did not address the legality of Böhmermann's poem, which is still under investigation. So now at this point, you've got to be wondering what the poem said. And we've got a goat up here, and what is that about, right? Well, it's in the poem. Now, I don't live in Germany, and I think the idea that insulting foreign leaders is punishable by law is preposterous, so I will share the poem with you. He wrote, "The man who beats girls," referring to Erdogan, and remember, he's a comedian. I think he's largely joking about some of this. He writes, "The man who beats girls, has sex with goats," I'm being polite, "and suppresses minorities, kicks Kurds, hits Christians, and watches child pornography." Okay. Now, if he was serious about that, and he was saying it about an average citizen, you could have a conversation about slander, libel, defamation, etc. But this guy's the leader of a country. Yes, and by the way, Turkey is not supposed to be a dictatorship. It's supposed to be a perfectly good democracy, and it used to be before Erdogan. So if you live in a democracy, yes, people say bad things about the leaders. That's how it works. So if you don't like that, well, then you should be in a dictatorship, which is kind of where we're headed here. So now that seems like a harsh thing to say. Let me back it up for you guys with how much Erdogan has cracked down on the press. Well, if you don't want any dissent, because you don't really want a democracy, what do? You go after the media. I mean, Erdogan's so power mad now, he's going after the media in other countries. That's fairly unprecedented. That I've never seen. Okay. Erdogan is known for his sensitivity to criticism, and Turkish prosecutors have opened over 1,800 cases against people for insulting him since he became president in 2014. He was prime minister for a long time before that. Just in the last couple of years, they brought 1,800 cases of insulting the president. That's not a democracy. So I don't know if people in Turkey recognize it yet. I suspect that a lot of them do. But he's slowly strangling that democracy in its crib. Well, it's not in its crib. Turkey's been a democracy since 1923. So a flourishing democracy. It had a female president. It's got different branches of government that have checks and balances. It's, it was one of the most secular countries in the world. But now we have a guy who's a fundamentalist and who says anyone who dares insult him is going to be put in jail. Okay, one more thing, because I found it absurd. The Turkish leader has repeatedly said his opponents are free to criticize him, but that those who stray into insult will face legal action. Oh, I see. Oh, you're allowed to criticize him, just don't insult him. Where's that line? It seems like this guy might be a little touchy. So I suspect that your criticism, he might interpret it as an insult. That is so sad that you have a country that used to be a wonderful secular democracy now imprisoning anyone who insults their dear leader.